Okie dokie. So,
Oh,
what?
Better. Seeing a ball patch.
We're recording, by the way. Yeah, we are recording. Hello.
Can't see my ball.
Ball patch.
Okay, focus.
We are recording.
Not on my ball patch.
Okay. So this is lesson 3, the third and final lesson around self-healing. And today we are tackling the mind. Okay. So Ian's got bullet notes today. Bullet notes? Bullet points? Bullet notes? I don't know. It's got a list anyway with little dots next to it. Okay, Ian, if you'd like to start the discussion.
Yeah, well, the first point, or bullet point, is there is a battle for your mind.
Internally, externally, advertisers, companies, battling for your mind.
I thought I was going to expand on that. I've only written the book.
So, okay, so.
How does this happen? There's a battle for your mind. So we can talk a little bit about how does that happen? Why do we get into these situations where we feel life is living us and we're not living our life, or we feel out of control, or our mind is racing really, really quickly, worrying about something, or we find ourselves caught in so-called depression, so-called stress.
Yeah, anxiety, all those things.
So we're going to say how we think that happened.
Okay.
Depending on what you perceive the unnatural world to be, or what you perceive it, what you want to call it, you call it the matrix. Angie's come up with a term this week, the blanket. No, not blanket.
Well, it's like a blanket that smothers our natural way of being, which we spoke about this before. You know, connecting to nature, being in that natural state of connectedness is so important. And we're I'd say a lot of the world is disconnected from nature, because there's so much construction of buildings going on. It distances us from that connection.
Yeah, and when you're in there, it does feel like a battle. It almost feels you're in a continual circle of you feel really good, you feel okay, you feel really bad, you feel really good again because you try and get that back again. You feel really you feel okay, and you feel really good, you feel really bad. So that's an okay cycle, but I believe, this is my own personal belief, that it's not natural for us to feel some of the, well, I don't think it's natural for depression. I don't think it's natural for stress. I think we do feel those things in different ways. So we're breaking down that construction of what that is, because feeling emotion is absolutely where we want to be, where we become feeling beings rather than feeling those feelings when we actually don't want to, just because of a form of energy that comes in, or a circumstance. That could be a bill, it could be a bereavement, and we'll touch on that. It could be just when you don't want it. Through panic attacks as well. Panic attacks will indicate that level of energy.
Absolutely.
Which is a fight or flight reflex, which we don't really need, because that was only ever there to help us move really quickly when we needed to.
Away from danger.
Or to make ourselves really, really big and fearless.
Yeah, in the face of danger. Yeah, and when I say danger, like imminent death kind of scenarios, which is why, you know, when you look at how your body responds, it responds in the same way to threats that are not life and death. You know, the majority of our stress isn't coming from situations that are life and death. You know, we think they are, we believe they are, but they're not. You know, it's just, you know, your car's got a flat tire, for example, or, you know, you can't get your frozen vegetables in the supermarket, for example, because they've run out. You know, that can provoke quite an extreme response. You know, and then if you come up against, you know, an actual threat, so somebody wants to hit you, it's a strange thing. You know, sometimes you get frozen to the spot in those things because your body, it can't tell the difference, between, or so I should say, your physiological response can't tell the difference. So it's almost like it confuses itself. It's like, well, do I stay, or do I fight, or do I go? And that's when you get the frozen thing, because it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know whether to stay and fight or go, because, you know, you had an extreme response, you know, continuous extreme response to, you know, not being able to buy your frozen veg in the supermarket, for example. So you get this strange stuck thing going on. Yeah, sorry, that's a little diversion, but that you know is part of the mechanics of your mind. Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's okay. Diversion's always good. So we're talking about the battle for the mind. So there is a battle for the mind, but it's insidious. So it's very, unless you've worked on yourself, you're not really going to see those little subtle plots into your brain and how you think. Until you accept that there is an insidiousness to making you do something that you don't necessarily want to do. So examples of that would be getting into debt, self-medication through alcohol, through class A drugs like heroin and class A drug, morphine, things like that. And also toxic relationships. So we can be pressured into relationships that are toxic just because of peer pressure.
Even down to what you put on your skin. You know, if you're being led by, you know, some advert that promises to deliver this, this, and this, when, you know, actually what you're putting on your skin is terrible.
But it's that pressure, though, isn't it? It's pressure from the advertisement. So if you look in the magazine, if you watch the TV, if you go on YouTube, if you go on Facebook now, you just be
adverts everywhere.
Going through Facebook to see what your family and friends might be saying, and adverts pop up to say you're not good enough. You need to look better.
You need to think better. You need to be smarter. You need to, I don't know, like be completely perfect in every single way. Otherwise, you're some kind of
your job isn't good enough that you're doing. You're not earning enough money. You're not this and you're not that.
You're not in enough debt.
Not enough debt.
Bizarre situation.
We view those as like a stress or a pressure, but they're illusions. They're not actually real. But they are, because they're designed to switch on certain chemical responses within your brain that then make you go out and buy products. or to go out and do a particular job, or
in some cases do any job for
and that will come
money.
in. That will come in the sense of bills, because bills will make you go out to work because you have a fear that you lose everything if you're not doing a physical job. Rather than following your dreams, you follow the money trail to pay for your bills. So life then becomes living you rather than you living
your life. So
that is a battle for your mind, and we can go into great detail, and we will do in our big course.
In the big course, which we now have a title for, it will be titled Advanced Witchcraft. We have a title now. But yeah, we will go into a lot more detail on that in that course, because it's an infinite subject, it really is.
So with today's self-healing, which is what it's about, so we're working on the mind. So we said a little bit about there's a battle for your mind. So that is an illusion within itself, because once you go, okay, there is a battle for my mind, I can see it, the adverts, etc., you can then take it, put it on the shelf, be aware of it. If you watch an advert and something comes on about the latest trainers, or you haven't got, you must dye your hair because you're looking old, whatever it is.
You've got some grey.
Or as my son says, whatever triggers you.
Yes.
And we are doing in this session some of the maybe little tricks you can do to help you kind of negotiate the magical
world of advertising.
Yeah, well, like all the magicians, because magicians are all about illusion and creating, and we don't understand how to do it, and we bang our heads in. How do they do that? How do they actually get me to get in this much debt? How do they actually get me to be on heroin? How do they actually get me to be in a situation that I didn't want to be in? How do they actually get me to?
I'll tell you how they do it. They take whatever pain it is that you are, and it doesn't have to be a physical pain. It could be, something that you want, need, desire. They will take that pain and they will twist it and then fire it back at you. Yeah, that's how they do it. And we know this because we've done a few marketing courses now, and I don't like that way. It doesn't resonate with me, to be quite frank. So we have to find our way to do marketing and to sell what we do, what we sell to people. So yeah, that's how they do it. So there's a little key there. Yeah. So for example, if you are triggered into buying a wrinkle cream, because you feel like you shouldn't be having any wrinkles. I've got lots of wrinkles in my forehead. Then if you feel compelled to go out and buy that is a trigger. That is something you maybe need to look under that rock and see what's really underneath that, because it's not to do with your wrinkles, it's to do with something else. But that's for the Advanced Witchcraft course. We'll go into more detail in that kind of thinking in that course.
So some of the ways that we can help ourselves with everyday magic, which is the wizard way, and wizards practice true magic that is tangible, magic that is empowering, magic that makes you feel euphoric and just energized and inspired. And usually that magic, as a rule, comes through creativity. So we've really pointed some of the ways that you can be creative. So they're just things that you know already. So painting and drawing, so art. Writing, so the first one would be painting and drawing, so creating artwork or going and looking at artwork. That can be very empowering.
And inspiring if it shifts and energy that is around you, then, and it's knowing as well, it's, you know, exploring creativity in different ways, and then knowing what works for you when it comes to creating your safety net. Yeah, that's the key, because all these things are great, but you have to use them. Yeah? And we'll talk more about that at the end.
So with all these creative processes, they have interchangeable links. So on the forefront, they're inspiring, and you might look at them and you need to be skilled to do a particular thing. And so the flip, so you need to train to do that. So the flip side of that would be to look at them all as therapies. So if you practice a specific thing, and speak from experience, because I'm a
Trained artist.
I went to Goldsmith College, Camberwell College, and Chelsea School of Art. Angie is a trained actor.
And a trained, what was that? It was a voice course. So I know how to use the voice, which came in handy for acting.
I think Rose Bruford, wasn't it?
Rose Bruford, just college.
So
yeah,
our background is a creative process. So what we're talking about is a therapy side of it, not necessarily the side of it which is very sort of highbrow. Neither me and Angie, we're kind of interested in some ways, like Shakespeare, Dickens and things like that, which we both love. That's quite highbrow. So we're more interested in the actual therapy side of it.
Practical tools that you can use every day.
So when you're painting and drawing, you probably want to focus on drawing what's in your mind and expressing that on paper, even if it's just with...
even if it's just squiggles, it doesn't matter.
Well, there's lots of different processes, and this is when you're doing it as a therapy, so you can use different mediums. So you could use collage, you could use cut-ups, which is really, really big in a magazine, something that kind of reflects how you feel.
Absolutely. I used to do that a lot. And they were quite melancholy. I'm saying, a bit weird.
But what they do, as an artist, whenever I produce a piece of artwork, it is like a ritual. So, because we're talking about witchcraft, there is very much a ritualistic
feel.
Ritualistic feel to creating a piece of finished artwork, whatever it might be. But what it should do, is that word, should?
Yeah, should that out of the window, please?
Is reflect how you're feeling. And when you look at it, you've kind of taken the feeling, put it on paper, so you've released it.
Yeah.
So anyway, different ways of doing that. So painting and drawing through art, writing, different ways of writing. You can write in a journal, you could do a blog, you could do...
just write poetry.
I
used to, again, poetry was a way for me to get out of myself what was going on.
You can find a pen pal, that's quite good, or just write a letter and put it in the post to nobody, just put it to the universe. Just being creative with how you then get that out of yourself. Music is another one. So there is the doing of music, and there's the listening. So using two different
there is the moving too as well, because dance, moving your body, is a way to unstick energy. I've been using a gym ball for the past 2 or 3 weeks now, because I didn't want to. I don't know. I get quite bored with my yoga practice sometimes. So just to shake it up a bit, I'll do different things. So that might be Kundalini, or at the moment I'm pointing over there because that's where it is. I'm using a gym ball and doing like Kundalini and some hatha yoga stuff with the gym ball. And it's challenging and it's fucking brilliant. So So moving your body is, and dance especially, is so uniquely yours because it's your individual expression of how that music makes you feel.
So running through it quite quickly. Reading. I would recommend reading inspiring books. So you can probably read the classics.
Or not.
I probably would also recommend reading some self-development books, depending on what you're focusing on in your self-development. But yeah, definitely reading, and also, which is quite nice, reading to people or listening to people. Me and Andy were both brought up on Jackanory, which is
and being read stories as a child.
Yeah, which is a very good practice. So quite childish thing.
Childlike, not childish.
Childish.
We can all be quite childish.
So,
but the objective is to be childish.
The interesting thing about TV, I'd say be selective with watching TV, but nonetheless, you're still watching drama, you're still watching documentaries, but be quite specific on what you are watching. So that's you, then what you're putting in your mind is then going to manifest in the coming days, months, weeks, years. So, if you're watching a documentary about veganism, for example, and the abuse against animals, make sure you're in the right place to then watch it. If you're not in the right place, then it's quite difficult. You'll find it quite challenging.
Yeah.
So laughter, we're calling that the big yin. So
Ian's calling it that. I didn't have a clue what he was talking about.
And the thing about laughter is it's a unique thing for the mind, because it just almost, if you can get the right, I don't know if that makes sense. If you can, it's what makes you laugh. And if you're a person who it's not that you find it difficult to laugh, it's just that, you don't.
I think it's when it comes from that deep place, so from your belly, yeah. I think that's the, laughing is great, but what makes you laugh uncontrollably? That's what I.
The reason I'm saying that is because when you can get to that place, and some people find it difficult.
Huge letting go in that, because you have to let go, yeah.
You do have to let go.
Because your stomach hurts, and you can't control yourself, and that's the letting go, yeah.
So when you get to that place, there is a euphoric feeling. So I think I think laughter is a creative process, and it's not just something that instantly comes. Some people, they laugh at everything.
That'd be me.
Yeah. And that's fine. I think for people that don't laugh a lot, they think there's something wrong with them in some way. Because I don't laugh that much, but I do find when I do laugh,
he's contagious when he laughs, and he looks like nearly wetting himself.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with you don't laugh a lot. It's just, I suppose it's just taste really, and what makes you laugh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, if you don't laugh enough, it can have an effect on you as a person, energy-wise.
And that's just lightness, yeah, because that out there is really, I'm pointing, and you can't see me, I'm pointing out there. It can be very heavy out there, yeah, in that world out there. In the smothering, absolutely. So let's combat that by not taking it so seriously. Not taking ourselves so seriously either, because we're here to enjoy it, aren't we? There is nothing divine in suffering and misery. Okay? Remember that.
So one of the ways of getting that laughter out in yoga, a good practice, which is called, they call it laughter yoga. So that's basically it's having a focus for 15 minutes, half an hour, of allowing that mechanism to work.
And there is an actual mechanism you can do, and we'll explore this in the advanced witchcraft course actually, because we're going to be exploring Kundalini more in that as well. So we'll also explore the laughter yoga in that, because there is an actual mechanism you can do, a physical thing you can do to get yourself laughing. Yeah, and it is very, very cool. And it involves the diaphragm. That's all I'm going to say. Unless you want to go and, research it yourself, you can go and do that. But, we will be exploring that in the advanced witchcraft course.
And it is quite contagious as well. I mean, there's two interesting energy forms.
It's like yawning.
Yeah. Two interesting energy forms within laughter. There's your own laugh when you are properly laughing. Not a fake laugh, but, that sort of thing. But when you're properly laughing, that's really interesting. When you hear it within yourself.
Like it echoes around your body.
Yeah, and then there is when you hear other people laugh, like that, it then becomes contagious. So anyway, moving on. Walking in nature is a creative process, because it's a very. You can walk in nature, but then if you don't have a focus as a witch, in connecting with the energies that are within the forest or woods or wherever you're walking, or the wind.
Well, that's in the slowing down, isn't it? Just not just looking, but actually seeing what is around you.
And why that is restful for the mind and helps with the battle for your mind is nature isn't trying to get your mind to do something. It's basically getting you reconnected to what you are, which is a peaceful being. And that's always the feeling, generally, it's got a a wolf chasing them. But generally the feeling of when you're walking in nature that you're quite relaxed and
safe.
And there's a letting go there, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But it takes a little while, so that is...
And I know that from when I've gone to our little woods, it's just at the back of us. It's only about an acre and a half, and it's an old smallpox graveyard. There's a woodland grown up there. And it is protected because it is a smallpox graveyard, so they can't build on it. Yes. And I used to find it very challenging to go, well, I never went in there on my own because I used to find it creepy if I went in there with other people, because it was a graveyard, So mind starts going, mind. And it would take me down this rabbit hole of, oh my God, this place would be creepy. I can't, to go in there on my own and be like, oh my God. But I have done that, and we've gone in there at night as well to do like short ceremonies. And because I've connected with the place in a very tangible way, it no longer freaks me out, spooks me, or scares me. So it can take a little while, but if you go with that intention to deliberately connect and, enjoy that space, it's amazing.
Now moving on, we have bullet pointed, developing an unstoppable
formidable will. The Bloody Mary attitude.
Through knowledge and action.
Definitely.
So what that means is that it's okay to get as much knowledge in your mind as possible, but if you don't take any action, then it's not that it's worthless, but it doesn't get traction for you.
You become a perpetual student.
Yeah.
And you don't actually put any of it into action, which is a real shame because, I think there are quite a few people out there who, that's kind of what they're stuck in. They're stuck in that perpetual student mode.
Well, what we're looking for in relation to the mind is confidence, because a spin-off of action is confidence, because when you go and do something, once you've done it once, gives you confidence then to do it again.
The experience.
Yeah, you have the experience that you can draw on. So a spin-off of that is confidence. So these are all forms of energy. Everything that we're talking about is energy. And also it's a feeling as well, so it resonates.
Yeah.
So as soon as you link to it, if you, I don't know, like if you're riding the bike, if you've never ridden a bike before, and you do it, and you learn
fall off.
You learn how to ride a bike. You generally don't forget how to ride a bike.
No.
You usually have that feeling of it usually comes quite quickly.
Yeah, you know how to ride a bike. Yeah, absolutely.
So moving on, nothing is real.
Hi, Wendy.
With the hi Wendy, with the smothering. So that link, what we're linking that with is with the magical word of gardening, which is in opposition to permaculture. So there are two different spells. So gardening is cast. So I'm going to do some gardening, and there are certain things that big companies want you to do within your garden. So, for example, they will sell you lawnmower, or it's generally all hacking stuff.
Yeah.
And that's gardening. Whereas if you use the magical spell permaculture, that has another different set of bits and pieces to use. So, for example, non-digging within permaculture.
Yeah, no dig gardening. Yeah.
But it's two different mindsets that are kind of opposed against each other. And we you know, when we're walking around, especially on a Saturday and Sunday certainly in England, where we live, that gardening is about cutting everything, cutting the grass, digging up weeds. When I say digging up weeds, I'm talking about
obsessive, like, you know, you get like a driveway that is, you know, bricked driveway, you know, and it's like there's a little tiny bit of green poking up, and they're like, oh my god, it's like they go crazy trying to dig it out.
That goes from our neighbours to the local council. When
we had all that lovely sunshine, getting all those amazing downloads, and the grass had basically gone back to the earth, and it was brown, and it wasn't growing. So people were still out there cutting their grass. It's like, there's no grass to cut. What are you doing? Even the council come out with their big machines cutting the grass. And it's like, there's no grass to cut. What are you doing? It's insane.
So with
sorry, on that one.
So with the nothing is real within the smothering, linking to gardening, linking to permaculture, is it certainly permaculture opens your mind up to what you are actually doing, which is working with Mother Nature,
with the land, rather than fighting it all the time. Because you see people out there all the time fighting nature. Cut it all back, cut it all back, cut it all back. Oh, there's a twig. Cut it back, cut it back. Woo! Slow down. Hold on a minute. It's just a twig.
So that.
Oh dear.
That is linking to your energy for your food. So that makes you think about your food and how you're working with those plant energies. And then as a medicine, so that then links to herbs, and then it also links to self-medication, because you're medicating with food, you're medicating with herbs and spices and so on. But then you're also medicating with well, basically, with, I suppose, drugs in a way, which is a shamanic thing. So I think where a lot of people have a problem with the whole drug energy is it's in the wrong hands. So if it's in the hands of the shaman, so you learn about the sacredness of what you're taking.
And how it will affect you.
That's
because a lot of people take these things, don't realise how they're going to affect you.
Once again, there is a knowledge there, and with that knowledge, there's an empowerment. So when you don't have that, because it's in the hands of not everyone, but quite a few insidious people, which is all about the mammon, the money, then you can get yourself into problems. So I don't really have any problems with drugs, but I think you have to be very careful because plants are extremely powerful beings.
Yeah, they are.
So I'll touch on a little bit. I'll touch on it more in the bigger course, but I suppose if you're self-medicating with drugs, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, say with certain drugs, say if you're smoking a bit of weed. But even there, you've got to be vigilant of, because it's a very powerful plant.
Not just that, these days they're spraying them with weird concoctions that make them smell like tutti frutti or like strawberries. That's not normal by any stretch of the imagination. Why would you? I don't get that. And I mean, who knows what those chemicals they're spraying the weed with is going to do to you in 30 years' time. No one's done the research. It's like vaping, yeah? No one did the research until, people started becoming ill. People, they're still selling it. People are still smoking these horrible things. There you go.
So the reason why you can't edit out the whole area of drugs is because it is an important area for shamanic work. Depending on if you're in that, if you're in that particular arena. So whether you're working for rehabilitation for drug users or whether you are experimenting with drugs. And I don't call them drugs. Drugs are, that's another spell word from the pharmaceutical companies. They call their products drugs. And the medicines from plants,
absolutely,
crystals and things like that, are actually medicines.
Yes.
And there's a big, big difference.
Yeah.
Because most people would not call CBD or food, you wouldn't call your food a drug. I suppose if there is some addiction, maybe you would do. But it isn't a drug, it's usually a medicine because what it actually gives you healing. Whereas what they do in pharmaceuticals is they actually do physically call it drugs.
Yeah.
That word comes from them and not in the natural world, where our witches come from. So my next bullet point would be, why does everything feel elusive?
In the mind. Are you asking me that question?
Well, unless I flip too many pages.
No, you didn't go too
Yeah, so I bullet pointed that one because it's that thing where you're on a wave. So that could be anything. You could be...
So you're going down the river in your boat, yeah?
No.
All right.
I don't have a boat.
That's the analogy I use. Yeah.
That's just joking.
So you're out on the sea. You're out on the sea on a boat. Don't be sick now. So you're riding the waves, basically, yeah?
Oh, right. I thought you were going to...
No.
Okay. Yeah, so you're out on the...
You don't have to use that analogy if it doesn't work for you.
Well, I use this one. It's not an analogy. It is specifically what you're doing. So, for example, if you go to something that raises your energy really, really high, whatever that might be for you. So you might get excited about going to the theatre, visiting friends that you love, into your garden. Oh, I haven't been in the garden for a while, and that's growing in the garden. Or, your favourite meal. There's always a kind of a drop down after it. It's kind of like energy goes up and then it drops down again. And that's the bit that, for some reason, when you get into, and it can last, when it drops down, it can last a long time.
It can, yeah.
Or it can go straight back up again, depending on the person you are or what's happening in your life.
Yeah.
So it feels, when you're in there, it's a bit elusive. So.
What, you mean the good feeling feels elusive? Yeah,
well, that's the. I mean, it's either feeling good or it's either feeling bad. There's two different energies.
So you're talking about that strange kind of transitional no man's land.
No, it's on. No? Yes, I know. I'm talking about that,
right.
But it's on getting traction with what you're doing.
Oh,
so that's in that area. When you come down, you've got that. Everything becomes elusive. It's just like, oh, I'm not getting the traction or what I want in relation to, I'm producing lots of stuff, or I'm talking, really good sense, or I'm doing a lot of work for these people, but you're not getting what you want, and it's in that elusiveness actually, because you come down into that feeling, and it seems to be more specific with that dropping down in that feeling than it is actually to do with what you're actually doing. So that's why I sort of coined it as why does everything feel elusive in that energy, just as a bullet point. For the mind, because we're talking about the mind. So the mind is up. So you're in your garden. Wow, lovely day. Everything's going really, really well. We're at the theatre, and you're absolutely enjoying the performance. Up, and then there's kind of a little bereavement as you, it's finished.
Yeah.
Or I've got to go in now and leave my garden, or I've got to leave my friends. There's kind of little. And that's normal and natural, but it's when you get into that feeling of perpetuating the elusiveness. So unless something comes in that takes you straight back up again into that energy, I think, this is my own personal feeling, I think that's where so-called depression or that kind of feeling then begins to activate chemicals within your body, because there seems to be an adjustment of chemicals up higher, because I'm really enjoying this, then there's a drop down. So anyway, that's that bullet point. And then another thing for the mind is working with spirit, or whatever you want to call that. It's the unseen, what we can't tangibly, physically touch, what science would say. So they would be crystals, so we can physically see crystals, but how they are beings and what they do as beings. I mean, science, well, maybe some science is interested in that, but certainly metaphysical science.
Well, hang on, let me interject there. Science uses crystals. What was that? They were watching something the other day, and they were using some crystal that they'd grown in a lab inside this. What was that? Detecting dark matter. I think it was a big device detecting the dark matter, and inside it they had a crystal they'd grown in a lab. Can't remember what the crystal was, but it was a crystal. So science uses crystals.
So, but they might use crystals, but they're not interested in investigating, like what someone who's interested in the metaphysics, so like the healing side of it, and what they can do for the physical person. They're not interested in that. They can put it in the computer and say, well, that works in the computer, but they won't put it around a human being. So someone like yourself who knows a lot about crystals can say, well, this crystal here is definitely going to activate this particular energy within your body.
Yeah.
And that's a specific understanding. And science doesn't recognise that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what creates that divide. And when you get an insidiousness between, like, science, who sits over one side saying, we've got all these great gains because we've got a lot of money, we've got a lot of mammon behind them. And you've got other people in the metaphysical world who are basically trying to do the same thing without any support, without any money put into it, unless this side becomes interested in a specific thing.
Yeah.
So that's so when you're working with the mind, which is I was going to say later on, is a literal sense.
Yeah.
Working with spirit. So anyway, it comes under crystals, tuning forks, sound healing, touch, massage, and body, and what's important. So these are all things for the mind. So, for example, if you don't know a lot about crystals, which I don't,
well, you do. You just think you can't remember it.
Yeah. Well, But if you don't, well, I'm only saying that for other people that might be like me.
Yeah.
So if you don't know about a crystal, then, sorry, for a minute. So you want to work on your mind,
yeah,
and you would like to identify what is the best crystal to work on your mind,
yeah,
then you can go and do that.
Yeah.
So there's lots of people that can say, well, what's really great for the mind is this crystal, or what's really good for your liver, or what's really good for your bladder, or what's really good for your heart, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah. So you can strap them to your body, you can have them around you in your house, and so on and so on. So that's, to me, working with spirit. I suppose later on in the bigger course we'll get into working with spirit people, because I think, yeah, getting into kind of deities and things like that. So our next bullet point is,
you wanted me to do something around tuning forks in the brain?
Yeah, well, yeah, just
well, I've got my forks out. You know.
So what we're saying here is that if you want to, if you are doing, well, we're all doing stuff in life, and you're feeling so-called energy called stress, or so-called energy called depression, then tuning fork will help with that. And this is the specific one that
I've got a few here. This one's a brain tuning fork, which is the, let me just grab that, brain. That's an E flat. That is. Frequency is 315.8 hertz. That one. That's an E flat. So that's optimum frequency for the brain. But then your brain, can you feel that, Wendy? Cool. Obviously the brain does different things. Hello, doggy. Come sit down. Sit down. No, not there. Don't sit on my crystals. Thank you. Obviously the brain does different things at different times. So if you're in anxiety state, your brain will be in beta wave activity, yeah? So in that case, you can combat that with alpha wave. So you can look this up on YouTube. All these frequencies you can get on YouTube. Yeah. So this is 267 hertz. So this is alpha wave state for your brain, yeah, which is the more relaxed brainwave state. It's kind of pre-sleep. So just before you go to sleep, this is the frequency that your brain is vibrating at, yeah? So that's alpha wave state. The next one along, so I didn't use the fundamental with that. Yeah. The next one along is theta wave, which is dream state, as opposed to delta wave, which is when you are in deep dreamless sleep. So this is dream state or deep meditation as well. Also REM sleep. So this is theta wave, brainwave state. Pardon me. And the frequency of that one is 262 hertz. Okay. That's theta brainwave state, which is where you want to be for meditation. So if you have problems getting into meditation, go and grab this frequency off of YouTube, play that for maybe 3-5 minutes before you want to do your meditation, and that will help you get into that meditative state.
And you can download the on YouTube, so you can put it on a sound system.
Yeah, a little MP3 player. That's theta wave. Cool. Okay. So other frequencies which will help your brain will help your mind, I should say. 396 hertz. That's 396 hertz, which releases guilt and fear, which is where a lot of people come from these days. They're fearful or guilty, feel guilty about something. Yeah? So this tuning fork, 396 hertz. Again, you can get this frequency on YouTube. It completely wipes that out, yeah? Banishes it. Banishes guilt and fear, 396 hertz. And it's quite a nice frequency. Really cool. So that's a really good one for the mind, yeah? Especially if you kind of feel trapped, yeah, in, fear or guilt or both. Sometimes they go together. What's the other one? One for the actual physical mind, if you like, so your brain, is the 128 hertz. So the 128 hertz is the frequency which, and it's called puffing in your blood vessels. Your blood vessels puff nitrous oxide, nitrous oxide, nitrous oxide. I get nitrous and nitric mixed up. And what that does, it helps to keep your blood vessels elastic. So it's very good for any kind of vascular dis-ease, blockages in the body. Yeah. It's very, very good for that. There has also been research done on using this particular 128 hertz for things like Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. I'm a huge advocate of using tuning forks to prevent, obviously, but to reverse any disease in the body. I think they're amazing. So that's the 128 hertz. And the last one I have, which is an amazing tuning fork for the mind, is the 111. Now, if you're going to get any tuning fork, get this one, because this is pretty amazing. I've used this before. I think you've heard this one before, but it makes your whole body and mind just take a breath and let it go. It's like, okay. And it doesn't have a choice. Your body, your mind has no choice. It has to relax. It cannot resist the 111. Now, I'm pretty sure the only place you can get this tuning fork is from a lady called Shearer Hart, because she's the one that pioneered this particular frequency, like tuning fork wise. What I will do, I will put the link to her website underneath this video when it goes up on Facebook. I think you can buy this individually, or you can buy it along with a 528 and a 396. If you're in America, the postage will be cheaper. For us, we had to pay extra postage and extra tax on the bloody things when they come into the country. But if you're in America, it's a lot cheaper. And they are really nice tuning forks as well. They're not, you know, they're not shoddy quality. They're really, really good tuning forks. It's worth spending. You know, you got to ask yourself the question: at what price your health? You know, that's why we've invested a lot in the tuning forks, because you know our health. You can be the richest person on the planet, but if your health is poor, it doesn't matter. Yeah, your health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health is more important. Yeah. Yes, we all need to bring in the mammon to have the freedom that we want to have, but without your health, nah, it's not worth it. It's not worth a bean. It's not worth the magic beans that Jack got, you know. Yeah, because even if you're the wealthiest person on the planet and your health is bad, you know, no amount of chucking money at that is going to do it, because it's up here. Yeah? So that's a 111. So that's my little bit on frequency in the mind, sorry. That's
well,
I love tuning forks.
As you're in that mode, why don't you say a little bit about, I don't know if you still got that video up with the chakra balance, because that's very good, and I think that's an instant thing for this particular session that people could access.
It is. I will go and get it. I might have even, pardon me, I'm pretty sure, I think it's in the Curious Novice course, the chakra toning, which is done through the voice. But I will, can I do that via that? I can upload it, actually. I can upload it as a video. I've still got it on a hard drive, I think I have. I can upload it, so I can put it in with this self-healing course, because that, and again, that's something you don't need any equipment. You're just using your voice. Yeah, so you can do it. I would say you can do it anywhere, but if you do it in the supermarket queue, you might get a few funny looks. If you're not into getting funny looks, don't do it in the supermarket queue.
So what I would just add, for anybody that doesn't know what chakras are, all it is basically grounding or balancing your body. That's basically
your body, your mind.
Description.
Yeah,
through what chakras are.
The 7 main. There are 7. Well, I'd actually say there are 8 main. Actually 9, 10 actually. Make your mind up. Because you've got the 7, and then you've got the earth chakra, which is just below your feet. You've got higher heart, which is the thymus gland, and then you've got your higher crown as well. So there's actually 10, I would say, if you're going to work, you know, holistically, so to speak. So 10 major chakras. We don't actually have the tones for the other 3, but I'm sure we can come up with something and do a new video. How about that?
Yeah, okay.
But until then, you can have our original chakra toning video, which will be in with this self-healing course. Yeah, cool.
So the next 2 bullet points that we did, which we want to touch upon, is the mind, or thinking beyond the mind's construction. So that's on different levels. So what that basically means is that...
Sounds complicated.
I like to complicate it sometimes. No, it's just because it's my notes. It's just what pops into my head. But basically, that is when, and some people find it really scary. So it's a little bit like, I've missed a bit out there, haven't I?
Have you?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not my notes.
So, it's been a Virgo. So
someone has to be.
What that is, so thinking beyond the mind's construction. So the mind is constructed by society, and we're always trying to find ways through that where we can actually think authentic thoughts for ourselves.
Yeah.
So one of the areas where we get that is if we are lucky. We're not lucky here because we don't see the stars as they are.
No, light pollution. Terrible around here.
But when we have had those moments, that's really good. where where you kind of break down that construction of your mind, or the bits that society has put within your mind. So whether it's through your parents, whether it's through school, or
friends,
or government, or whatever it might be, that is a constructed mind. And those, so thinking about ETs, for example, extraterrestrials, thinking about the universe, thinking about different dimensions is all really good for the minds. But some people find it really, really scary. A bit like, I mean, I don't like flying, but it doesn't stop me from flying. I'm terrified on the plane, I've got to be honest. White knuckle ride for me, but everybody else is really good. I love flying. How can you love flying? But I do it. I make myself do it. So that's a little bit like thinking beyond the mind's construction, which I think knocks you into the practical, mundane, spiritual awareness. So what that is once again, it's that thing when you got that high. So we know we are much more amazing beings than
we are led to believe.
Than what we are led to believe. But we know that. It's not, we don't know that. We actually do know that.
Yeah.
But the constructive mind kind of gets in our way of seeing
Smothers
that.
it. Yeah. Smothers it. Right.
So we get little glimpses of that. So if we achieve something, from maybe doing a wonderful performance to actually
helping people, create an amazing meal, it could be anything.
Yeah, we could be intervening or saving, saving an animal that's in distress, to saving plants because they need a little bit of help, or you might save some trees that are going to be cut down, whatever it might be. That's, you get that, oh, well, I'm a lot more than what I thought I was.
Yeah.
Or you might do it as a group. But in that, when you come down to that practical, mundane, spiritual awareness, those are those bits which I suppose in Zen they talk about that, which is really, really good for the mind.
The magic is in everything.
Yeah, where you kind of accept that you kind of accept that you're going to do some washing up.
Those mundane things or every day.
Yeah, or it might be something that you just, I dislike this and think I have to do.
But what's interesting for the mind, and that whole thing around magic being in everything, or meditation being in everything, is that if you are trying to change your reality, it's those little everyday things that you can tweak, and it might only need a little tweak. Like, for example, it's quite a weird thing that's happened to me this week. I've been working on manifesting, so in the little things that I do every day, I've changed the way I do them, or the time that I do them. And it's brought up these huge, it's like a tidal wave of crap that was from, I thought, long gone, but no. It's like, oh my God, came at me, knocked me over, and I'm like, what the bloody hell was that? But what is really interesting about that is that I realised after I been had the wash of crap was that I realised, well, hang on a minute, this resistance that my mind is doing, this fight or flight, and it's like holding on for dear life with its claws, it's like I'm on the right track, because that's what sparked that resistance, because I'm on the right track here. So when you tweak those little everyday things that you do, it might provoke a reaction, but what it will do is it will swap around your mindset. It will change your mind, basically, literally. So carry on. Magic is everywhere, even in the washing up.
So in the practical, mundane, spiritual awareness is the energy. So most people would have done something where they definitely don't want to be doing it, but they know that they've got to do it. So and it can feel quite painful.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like, you know, when you put
Oh
your
yeah,
feet
it claws down.
it's that energy.
Down a chalkboard. Yeah.
You know, I don't want it. Not all the time, but you can get into that. I find that with me personally, I get that with usually writing something that I'm not inspired with.
Yeah.
So I'm fine when I'm writing
Grimlock
or poetry or you know, whatever it might be, that's creative. I'm fine. But if it's something which, you know, it's a letter that I've got to write to a local authority because you know they're using
being an arse.
Yeah, being an arse. Yeah. There's a real resistance there, and it's like walking through treacle. It's painful. It's that. But for me personally, the feeling is like if someone
nails down a chalkboard. Yeah,
and it literally puts my, and it's a specific energy.
Yeah, I get that. With me, it's like I get like itchy feet and I want to run away. that's how it manifests for me. Yeah.
So I can sometimes work through that, or sometimes I have to stop because it's just so intense. And for me, it is a specific pain. It's usually in my head, and that's how I get a headache. So I don't really, you know, I don't live up in other people's heads, but I get accused of that quite often. But for me personally, it is the mundane of doing those things, which, like housework, for example.
Oh, no.
Angie has had a thing about, because you've been doing this course thing, where we move the energy of the house, and because I'm
clearing,
because I'm not doing the course, I'm not working on the same energy.
Yeah.
So I kind of had that feeling come up on the seafront because we had to sort through some clothes and stuff.
Clothes, paperwork, photos.
And there was that resistance, which manifested as the things you like the teeth going on there.
Yeah.
And I was working on like the project I'm working on as well. Where I finished that, and once I kind of finished that, I sort of like giving myself enough pleasure. Now I'm going to give myself some pain. Infliction. So, anyways, so that's we'll touch on more on that on the next course. But there is anyway. What I'm basically saying in those two things, there is a magicalness. There's a bit like microcosm and macrocosm. So there is a wonderful energy in looking at the stars and thinking about different beings within the universe itself, to doing those. You know, there is a kind of a zen, if you want to use that. I quite like that word.
Yeah.
But there is an energy which, you know, if you're just kind of doing the basic stuff of what you need to do, you know, like washing your clothes, if you wash your clothes, you know, preparing a meal that isn't, you know, a lot of meals you can go, oh, it's amazing, I really want to prepare that, but there are kind of like toast, for example.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit mundane, isn't it?
It's not very inspiring, is it? Yeah.
So yeah, moving on. So yeah, deconstructing panic attacks. Panic attacks, which is a specific energy with the mind.
Well, something I know from when I was a kid, which I didn't really figure out until later on. Well, I'm starting. Shush. I'm starting. Shush.
I've got more.
Yeah, in a minute. I just want to touch on that.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I used to 10, 11. Yes, hello, Smith. I used to get this very intense feelings, like regularly. I'd probably say nightly, actually, of the walls closing in. Yeah, and it was really uncomfortable, and I couldn't talk to my parents about it. They weren't interested in anything really, apart from themselves. So I just used to put my head under the covers and hope it'd go away. Yeah. And I didn't know what that was until later on down my kind of yoga path, doing lots of work on, you know, awakening, all that sort of stuff. And I had the same feeling, and it got in here, and it was really, but it was super intense. And what I realised, because I think I've been watching Brené Brown's talk on wholeheartedness, yeah. And I watched it, and it had obviously triggered something. It had triggered an expansion through the heart center, yeah. And what I realised was that's the same feeling I had when I was a kid. So what I was experiencing as a child wasn't a panic attack. It was actually an expansiveness. So there was an expansiveness going on in me as a child, but I didn't realise that was what it was until like 30 years later, which, you know, is quite amazing. But that's the, you know, flip it. That's what I got from that.
Yeah, I mean, what I would add into that is when you look at anyone that has a spiritual experience, like or an awakening or just a huge awareness, symptoms that they kind of describe are very similar to a panic attack. So
definitely,
although the panic attack, well, they're both intense emotional experiences.
Yeah.
Which are very, very similar. So I would say that it's confusion. So it's been labelled panic attack. It's probably not. It's probably an awakening. That's my opinion.
Because we're not guided. We're not taught this stuff. You know, it's just assumed that we'll just go through our life as smuggled, and that's the end of it. We're not taught how to deal with. It's like when I had my first ever Kundalini experience. Oh my God, it freaked me out for weeks, and I wouldn't do yoga in that room. You know, it's like, well, I'm not going back in there. That freaked me out. And then there was other things going on with it as well, like energy shifts going on my body, and I was just like, oh my God, somebody help me. So I talked to some people and put my mind at rest. And then I learned to close down as well, because I hadn't been doing that because I wasn't taught how to do it properly. So yeah, sorry.
That's okay. So practical tools that I think once again, it's that awareness. We've got that awareness. We can pop it on the shelf, take it off when we need it. So the awareness is that it is a spiritual experience, a panic attack.
Yes, definitely.
In my opinion.
And flipping that round, a spiritual experience can feel like a panic attack as much as a panic attack is like a spiritual experience. So
I think where that's important, because these things don't hit, well, they don't only hit, you know, it's not a specific time in life that you get them. You can get them any time of life.
And you can be anywhere. You know, I remember I was rushing to pick up my son from school. I'd got the train back from London, but it was like, it stopped one stop before I needed it to. So I'm like, oh my God. And then I get like what feels like a panic attack, but it felt like I was being pulled out of my body. And it's like, I don't need this now. I'm trying to pick up my son from school. So I had to walk like 2 miles to come pick him up. So they can be at the most inopportune moments as well.
So the practical tools would be, I think one of the most important things when you're not in session, so you're not having a crisis, and this is depression as well, or even if it's a disability, I think awareness is key in this area. So if there are certain things which you can recommend to a person who lives with you, or it's a parent, or husband or wife, or husband or wife, I'm talking about a lover, someone that you live with, even your children. But if you make them aware on what they can do, because I think that is one of the most biggest problems, is people don't, do you know what I mean? They don't actually, they either start talking to you and you don't want to leave me alone, and they get a bit of, oh, I was only trying to help.
Yeah.
Or they don't talk to you when you actually need it. So
Yeah.
I think if you can make people, and unfortunately with panic attacks and depression, I don't think there's so much gobbledygook as to what they are,
stigma around it as well,
and what they are as forms of energy.
Yeah.
That it's kind of like almost overrides the sort of practical side of it.
Mm.
You can read it in books and stuff like that, but actually doing it in action is very, very difficult. So I really recommend, if you're suffering with it, if you know someone suffering with it, to find a advocate, someone they can ring, or they can be difficult to ring in panic attack, but someone, well, definitely someone who you can actually say, look, this is what you need to do, and this is when I'm experiencing this, whether it's depression, etc., etc. If you're on your own, I think the best way, well, whether you're on your own or not, the best way to deal with a panic attack, and the best way to deal with depression, is to go into it. Do not fear it. Go into it. Find out what it is and what it's all about. You will find that it is a spiritual experience, because there are intense emotions and feelings. And if you've got, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later, good catchment nets, which is basically tools which, when you are experiencing these energies as an energy being, that they're there to kind of catch you, to say, okay, that's there, I can use that, whether it's a crystal, whether it's
breathing,
herbs.
Your breath is the one thing that you've got with you all the time. I mean, I carry my crystal first aid kit, if we're going somewhere, or like today I've got my hypersthene crystal. Can't really see the shimmer on it, it's light. Oh, a little bit there. Whee! If you're prone to needing to be grounded, then carry some carnelian with you wherever you go. But your breath is the thing that you have with you all the time, so it's the one thing you can always fall back on. So carry on, darling.
So practical tools, the breath is really good, and one of the reasons that's obvious is because, as I say, the mind works with oxygen. So whenever you are feeling a bit panicky on a plane, or if there's been an accident and shot, they always get you to breathe into a bag. They always use the breath. So it's pretty obvious. I think that's an obvious piece of magic or of alchemy. Other tools would be to disarm those two specific things, deconstruct them, because they were constructed so you can destruct them. So panic attacks, although they're very real when you're experiencing them, and I've experienced them, so is Angie, they're not actually real. You're just experiencing a form of energy, and that's how you deconstruct it, and do it for whatever way suits you. Because the idea of taking what we're talking about is taking it and then reconstructing it so it suits you. So you might formulate your own ideas, or you might use that for a while, which just helps you, and then you go, oh, actually, this works better for me. Then, I suppose with depression, well, both words are spells. Panic attack, depression is a spell, depression. So I think it's in the word is the answer, or in the spell is the answer. Depression. So there must be a form of energy pushing down.
Yeah, because the word depress means to push down. So that's essentially what's happening when you are depressed, is your mood, your personality, whatever that is being pressed down. And the taking of antidepressants pushes that down even more. Especially things like, what was the antidepressant you were on that made you like a zombie?
Carry on.
There is a particular antidepressant that makes you like a walking dead person. I can't remember what it's called.
They come to me, don't they?
It'll come.
Comes to me at the end. It's at the end.
So, I mean, I was prescribed them twice and refused to take them. The second time was after I had Henry, and I was actually in the pharmacist with my prescription, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I can't do this. So I walked out, went home, laid on the floor, and did some breathing instead of taking pills. Because I'd learnt, from training and yoga before, that your breath it's all about the breath. If you can regulate your breathing when you're in a state of emergency, because that's what it is when you're having a panic attack, it's like a state of emergency, and if you can come back to that very kind of level grounded place for using your breath, that is just, God, you never ever need to take another pill ever again. And I've used it through the years. I have used it for, when I did, what are they called? I lost my words today. Auditions for drama school and stuff like that, because that's huge. That was a huge trigger for me. It's like a huge button presser. That was. I've used it, obviously when I have my son. His breath is all about the breath. Having panic attacks, breath work, singing, breath work, all that stuff. Your whole life is your breath. Yeah. I think the Buddhists that believe that you have a certain number of breaths for your lifespan. So if you slow down your breathing, you will live longer.
Right, it's just logic. The logics believe that.
The logics.
So that's a big thing for the mind when within a panic attack. So having those sort of basic tools, and also, I think it makes you look how you eat, because one of the things about panic attacks is it's that thing again where you are filling up with something. You are full of something. And what was interesting for me on a personal level was if I filled up with food, and I think this is why a lot of people that suffer with those kind of energies or experiencing those energies, they lose their appetite, because you just fill up with something, an energy, and it must be very similar to food.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on.
Of course, the other thing, just quickly, around your CBD. The oil, I suppose, would be the best thing for panic attacks, like a high strength CBD oil, because it works in like seconds, which is amazing. We do sell high strength CBD, in case you're wondering. What are you doing?
Okay, I'm Googling.
I just thought I'd put that in, because that's a very important plant medicine, CBD. And because our own brain makes cannabinoids, taking CBD actually helps to make the brain make more cannabinoids, which regulate a whole manner of systems in your body. Yes. Carry on, darling.
Just the next bullet point was another magical word, death, and how to die happy. So the thing about a lot of people in the world, they do have a fear of death, and that word or spell. So once again, you deconstruct the word. That can be quite quick, or it might be, it's just something that resonates with you. And why you die happy if you're dying a natural death, but even if you, one assumes, even if you have an accident, the body, it's kind of the body's business, really.
It would.
It's really nothing to do with the mind.
That's a common thing. People that are in like accidents and their injuries are quite severe is that the adrenaline takes over, and it's like you feel no pain. I mean, yeah, it obviously wears off after a time, but you know, if your injuries are that severe, then chances are that there will be a death involved there. So it's the body is quite amazing in that respect. You know, it actually
Like
takes over.
nature.
Yeah, it takes over completely.
Yeah, I think that's on a par with all plants have medicine.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, whether the medicine is poisonous, it's still a medicine.
Well, our ancient witchy ancestors weren't scared of poisonous, painful plants, you know, because they knew how to use them.
And they wasn't scared of death either.
No, they weren't scared of death, because death is not the end; it's just the beginning. That's my belief, anyway.
So anyway, to recap, it's the spell of the word. And I don't believe that is. I don't know. Every time I hear that word, it is.
What is that website? Because that's a really good place to get to deconstruct words. Is it etymology?
Oh, etymology, yeah.
Etymology. Carry on, babe.
Yeah. So, and yeah, why you die happy? Well, when the body goes into death mode, if you like, or that energy, then it takes over. It does its thing. It's and it's euphoric. It fills you up with drugs, if you like, or medicine.
Yeah.
To help with that, not to help that process. It does that process. It's the body doing its thing, and you will be euphoric, literally.
Yes.
So that's the body's business. Have you found it?
The word death is from the Old English. I don't know how you pronounce this, but it's D-E-A, an O with a, I don't even know what that little thing is above it. It's not an umlaut or anything like that. I don't know what it is. Meaning total cessation of life, act or fact of dying, state of being dead, cause of death. It's also from the Proto-Germanic Dalthus, source of the Old Saxon Doth, Old Frisian Dath, Dutch Dude, Old High German Tod, yeah. The Proto-German indicating act, process, or condition. It's Etym Online, ETYMONLINE.com. I'll post that as well underneath, because it's really good because you know, words are really powerful.
Well, they
are
powerful.
It's really good to get these words deconstructed sometimes if you're not sure of the root of the word, where it comes from. So I'll post that underneath here as well, with the chakra toning video.
So the bit, so it's really not the, when you're actually, if you choose to physically die or through an accident, it's not actually that bit that it's the fear of the fear, for starters, on that one.
Yeah.
But it's the bit before. So depending on if I like that anyway, but people that are feeling that particular energy, I personally think it's knowledge and trust.
Yeah.
Which are two key spell words. So you'd have to break down what trust is, and you'd have to break down what knowledge is. So we've touched upon that bit of knowledge, but it would be if you're studying to change that energy within yourself, if it's manifesting as fear, you should be looking at the fear of the fear, but also at the same time, how do you do that? You do that with knowledge and trust. So you need to look at what kind of knowledge is for that, but also trust. So you can go into science, you can go into metaphysics, you can go into whatever faith there might be out there, you know, whatever kind of resonates with you. But as an occultist, just have that Libram scale thing where you can go, okay, am I being manipulated? Does it resonate with me? Which we'll touch upon at the end. So we're getting near to the end now.
Just quickly, I just looked up the word depression on this etymology website. The original term was an astronomical term, meaning angular distance of a star below the horizon. That's what it actually originally
meant. That makes sense.
But it also means the literal sense, act of pressing down, so, or the state of being pressed down, indicating, you know, sadness or that drop. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for sharing that as well about the washing up. I had a similar experience myself, which is interesting. Thank you for joining us with your breakfast, Wendy, and see you later.
So anyway, we move towards the end. The next bullet point is how to deal with bereavement and those challenges in life.
Yeah.
So I think bereavement is an energy, and it's an energy that is activated, obviously, by the death of a loved one. That's the most common observation, but it can be activated by other things. Breakup in a relationship, you know, if you're missing a drug, a medicine, or if you're missing like food, just as you move through age, for example.
Yeah.
You know, you might miss childhood if you had a good childhood, or you might have some lovely memories. You get that sense of bereavement. So, and those challenges in life, which kind of raise that not quite as intense an energy as bereavement, but certainly they're strong, powerful energies, which they're more challenging, I think, because they're on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to talk a little bit about bereavement and why I think it's a good energy if managed.
Well, it's an end, and there'll always be a beginning which follows that end. So I think it's that word trust. It's trusting that, and those famous words, this too shall pass. So this will come to an end, and then something new will begin. It's trusting that process.
So the reason I think it's a good energy is because I think we get confused sometimes as to how to deal with it, because in our ancient ways of being, which is in community, we tend to deal with bereavement through community. So we would grieve together. So we would probably have the ceremony, celebration of the person, you know, maybe one of the tribes people, the tribe is passed, and all the tribe will come out and send them on their way, and there'll kind of be a closing, and that's a big thing that's lacking from.
Well, there would be celebration,
unless you're lucky to live in that.
Yeah, and there would be celebration around that. It wouldn't be this maudlin affair that, I don't know, in other places in the world, but certainly in this country, it's all very somber and black and must be very serious, you know. Oh my God.
But it's a topsy-turvy, isn't it?
It's the least serious thing, because it's not the end, for goodness sake.
But it's a topsy-turvy, isn't it?
Yeah, huge topsy-turvy.
because you should be celebrating that person.
Absolutely, celebrating what they did in their life and just their life. You know, celebrate their life. But instead, we get to, you know, I don't know, talk about how sad it is that they're gone. Well, they're not gone. Not if you really believe that, you know, this is just the beginning.
So, how that then affects the mind is that when you're experiencing bereavement, I personally think it's another spiritual experience, because the thing that it focuses on, it's not the
letting go.
Not the person that is past. It's your own immortality.
And letting go of that.
Yeah, and then letting go of that. And I think bereavement, when it's an intense emotion, and when it affects you in a negative way, is when you don't have trust, as you say, and you don't have the literal sense of what works for you, you know, what you are naturally. So that could be a witch, that could be, whatever it is, whatever thing that you follow. If it isn't working, those are the points of where you say, okay,
let's do this differently.
Let's do this differently, because you're working with an external thing then. Because if Christianity, or if you're Muslim, or those things should be working for you, and you should be working with those communities in relation to those bereavements. But if you're not getting traction with that, with you, then I have a problem with that, because I don't think. I think you can get out of bereavement quite quickly through changing the energy, literally, in the sense of like celebration of that person.
Because in the celebration, there will be a letting go. Because when you are in full celebration, you are, you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're just
it's the
being.
It's the same as depression. Bereavement is a word, it's a spell. So. Well, you've got a little story there, Ange, haven't you? You were saying that, like, when you had someone pass, that you felt that you had to be sad.
I was told, when my mum died, I was told, I was attacked for not crying enough. What? What do you mean I'm not crying enough? Oh, well, if it was me, I'd be like on the floor crying for weeks. Well, so, it's everyone grieves in their own way. I know it's a cliche and everyone says that, but it is true. There are no rules. There are no rules.
And also, if you're watching this, then you should be, by rights, you will be a witch.
Absolutely.
And you will be practicing
or paganism.
Paganism. So therefore you will have an understanding of what that is and how to celebrate it, and so on and so on and so on. And if you are bereaving, which is fine, that's absolutely fine. But it's in the literal, taking it literally what you're practicing. Yeah. And that's kind of where I would leave it, and I'll probably expand on it in the bigger course of it.
Yeah.
I hope that helps, but you can ask us any questions on that. So, building catchment nets.
We kind of touched on that. It's always what works for you. Yeah, for me, there's a few things. There's using a gym ball. Yeah, just bouncing on a gym ball will lift your mood. Yeah, guarantee it. Yeah. I dare you to try it, and I dare you to tell me it doesn't lift your mood, because it will make you laugh. Singing, for me, is another one. Getting out. If I am in quite a restrictive frame of mind, getting out, walking in the trees, only for it only has to be half an hour, flips it round. Yeah. About you, Ian? What works for you, catchment net wise?
I think being creative really helps me to change the energy of where my mind is focused. So if I'm worrying about something or I'm feeling different energies that are making me feel a certain way, which is described as, or spelled as, stress or depression or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
I know that it's an energy, and I know by changing energy, you can do that through being creative, because it just literally
channels
your
channels
mind.
it. Yeah.
And it's the intensity of that creative process that should do it. And if it's not doing it, you need to do it more into the particular project.
Lose yourself in it.
Yeah, that you're particularly working on.
Just a quick thing around that. I got this really cool book, Sigil Witchery by Laura Tempest Zakroff. Sorry. Really, really cool. So if you love, well, even if you don't love drawing, actually, this is a really cool book. If you're into symbols and things like that, this is a really, really cool book, yeah, to crafting magical symbols. But using them, what I love about this book, not only is it like really, really good on the symbols, it gives you really creative ways of using them, yeah? So we will actually be referencing this book in the big course as well, because sigils are chaos magic, yeah? So we will be using this book during the course, yeah? So if you want to do the big course, I would get this book, yeah? Because you will need it, okay?
So the last bullet point is formidable
will
and personal responsibility and self-discipline.
And self-determination as well. We are all self-determining individuals. It's whether we take hold of that and own it, which comes into the personal responsibility and self-discipline.
Okay. So that was the next bullet point. So one of the things I feel is that it's in a literal sense. So we'll just touch on that on the last bullet point, where what you're practicing is a literal thing. So if you're practicing working with crystals, you take it literally. If you're practicing working with deities, you take it literally. What you don't do is change that energy by then listening to someone else who doesn't work with those particular areas. They might work in a different area. Let's say they work in
business, or
let's say they business, or they don't know, or they don't mostly know what they're talking about. So you take what you practice literally and you develop that, and that is an energy for the mind.
Yeah.
Because if you're working, say for example, with Odin, and you take Odin literally as a practice, you don't know where you're going to go with that. That's going to be fantastic.
Yes,
journey.
Absolutely.
And two, it'll make you more confident in your practice. So don't listen to anybody else. Take what you're practicing literally, which then leads me into to trust yourself. So the last bit is to trust yourself, because you have the tools as well. So
Absolutely.
We've given some of our ideas, or our forms of energy, which manifest as ideas, but you have them as well. So it's worthy of developing the trust in yourself and what you practice to then get those tools out to help you or support you in your everyday emergence into things. So that's my little bit there.
And investing in your health as well. So like the tuning forks, like the crystals that we use, herbs, essential oils, you know, witchy path, walking in nature, getting out, you know, going camping, all those things that connect you back to yourself as much as nature, because you are nature. Yeah. So anything that connects you with you is what you want to invest in for your own self-determination. Yeah.
Yeah, because every moment of your life is priceless.
Yeah.
And if you are in this ease,
Yeah.
which is a construct anyway, it's an illusion, then you know, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with investing financially, with your time,
yeah,
with your energy into, and we do that anyway. You know, a lot of people will go swimming or, you know, running or whatever.
Yeah.
Like for the physical body, but for the mind, we tend not to invest so much within that. We let you know, if you're putting junk food in your mind, then it's not surprising the mind becomes, you know, a tool which is really difficult to manage, and is very, you know, starts to manifest all those words like doubt, insecurity and so on.
Fear, guilt.
So invest in your mind. Invest in, you know, the things that really then activate those spells, like, you know, feeling fantastic, and the mind is just exhilarated. You know, if you don't give something for the mind to get inspired with, the mind loves to be inspired through creativity. And then, as I say at the start of this, we highlighted a lot of ways of being creative through therapies. That it's not surprising that you arrive at the place where you're not, you know, you feel dead, you feel not alive and not stimulated, but it's action. So that's your responsibility. So personal responsibility, self-discipline, which is the last bit that we were doing.
Yeah.
It is you who takes that responsibility, and your discipline is with yourself. So will of your responsibility and will of your discipline. So you put your will, this is my will, to be
formidable will.
Yeah, to be responsible for my own mental health, or the energy of my mind, and what I put into it, like what you put into your body.
Yeah.
You know, if you're into your body and you want your body to be healthy, you're not going to eat toxic foods.
Absolutely.
So why would you then, in your mind,
put toxic stuff in your head?
Stuff in your head. So that's personal responsibility and self-discipline. So will of the responsibility and will of the discipline. So I will be disciplined in what I put in my mind. So for example, if you are listening to stuff that doesn't inspire you, that just makes you, and you'll know it because it'll be that energy. So it'll be, this is not doing it for me. It's kind of like giving me a headache. Get rid of it. Get rid of that situation. You know, don't go in those situations. But that's down to you. That's your responsibility, and that's your self-discipline.
Because all the tools in the world become useless if you're not going to take action and use them.
So how you do that is you evolve it and you innovate it. So there's a start point. So we have a start point. So from this video, if you have a start point, so you can write down something, or you just mark a line in the sand, or an invisible line, a metaphysical line. So, well, as soon as I cross that line, this is where I'm going to be coming from, or whatever it is. That it's a start point. So you can start anywhere. It's never too late to start to make a difference to your mind and your mind's health.
Yeah.
So there's that start point, the 0 point. It tells us in mathematics that the 0 point is the start point. Which is all about Hyperianism, which is another thing we're getting into. From that is action. Identify the actions that you need to take. So 0 point, identify the actions, then multiply those actions.
For your desired outcome.
Yeah. For the desired outcome. And then when you start to get the abundance
of your desired outcome.
Yeah. When you start to get that abundance, so you basically, from your start point, 0 point, you take your action, then you should start to see the little shoots of what your actions, then you'll get that abundance. Oh, you know, wow, you look amazing. What are you doing that's different? Can I have some of that? Oh, you've got so much energy. What are you doing that's different? Can I have some of that? Oh, I've had a great time with you. You know, what are you doing that's different? Can I have, what's the secret? And it will surprise you as well. So I think we're coming to the end. So that is the end. Trust yourself. You have the tools as well. So trust your energy. You have the energy within you to work with your minds.
Absolutely.
And to look after it like you look after your body, although the mind is
yes.
body.
Yeah.
It's a tool of the body.
But it's in the action. Yeah. And you can either make those small changes to your everyday stuff, tweak them, which will bring about new outcomes. Or, in at the deep end, just completely change things, yeah? For me, that's been twice now I've stopped smoking. Like, not weaned it out, just completely stopped, yeah? Completely changes everything, yeah? Deciding to fully walk the witchcraft path, just like, in the tell you, he's like, what's going on? It's like, no, I'm doing this. It's changed everything for us, yeah? So you can either make those little tweaks, yeah? Or you can just throw caution to the wind and just take one great big giant leap, yeah? Whatever resonates with you, yeah?
And I suppose what I'd finish on is if you've got any questions, you don't walk this path alone. We are here.
Yeah, you can always, ask questions down in the comments.
And we love doing that as well. And I think when you are working with energy, to change energy, I think it's always good to, this will be in our bigger course, but it's always good to use
witchcraft.
Yeah, it's always good to use good communication, or the energy of communication, and how you do that. So it might be difficult to say what you want to say, but to live your truth, you have to speak your truth.
And that could even be writing it down, yeah, until you get the confidence to actually verbalize it. That might be in the writing it down, yeah. Okay, so everybody, this is the last third of our self-healing videos. So come back to these whenever you need to use it. Any questions, comments, and any feedback that you want to give us on this as well.
I told you to get it at the end. Diazepam.
Diazepam, yes. Makes you like a zombie. Don't fucking take it, yeah, and it's addictive as well. I think that's it. That's it. That's it.
So, at the end.
Be fearless, stay witchy, live long and prosper, and we will see you next week, next Thursday. Well, definitely be, and I talk on abundance next Thursday. Blessed be.
Blessing.